know about you guys, but anytime I was doing a modding of a donor cart, I always hated when I came across these 1A3Bs. They're 1 MB only. There's just not a whole lot you can do with them. The 1 stands for 1 mass gram, which is this one, and the A stands for it's low mapped. 3 stands for the SRAM, which is 64K, and then B stands for the decoder type, which is 74 139. Anyways, I don't know. I had a pile of these. I kind of hated to, just throw them away, but I had a pile of these and really never used them and just saw them as a pariah. But got to thinking about it, and I thought, well, how can I use these? And so I came up with a little adapter. Now the adapter just goes on the back side of the decoder, and I'll show you that in a minute. So you have one for low mapped games and one for high mapped games. So the decoder, you can see where it says 1A3B 2 to 4 MB high map games. So what these decoders do is it allows you to use or convert a 1A3B cartridge so that it'll play and run and save up to a 4 MB game, which is, for all practical purposes, the largest SNES game, about 99% of them. And so I have a couple of examples here. I'm just going to show you. Now here is where I put the low map adapter on the back of a donor cartridge, the 1A3B. Now this is the low mapped one. And so because the mass gram only had 32 pins, which gave it a maximum address of A19, so now we need to get A20 and A21, connected. So with a couple of jumpers, that's connected. And this circuit board here is another one we make where it marries, to the back of the cartridge. So you can put a 27C322 EEPROM, the cheap ones and easily available ones up at the top. So I've got a couple of so here's one without without the decoder adapter, and it literally just solders onto the existing holes, and then you do a cut. You have to cut pins 4, 7, and 9. So once you make those cuts, then the only other thing you have to do is you have to run this. Little wire from pin or edge 40 over to the pin 2 of the decoder. And so I like hiding my wires and gluing them down so you can see some glue spots, and I ran it underneath the ROM chip just to kind of make it not look too messy. So so here is the 2 MB one. Now where you see the black Sharpie circle, that's the center post, inside a cartridge. So you have the wire, away from that area. Anyways, this is a Super Metroid. You can see that there's just the one wire there. And then this is another adapter that I make that, is just the TSOP 40, like many people have used in the past. So anyways, so we got Super Metroid on this one. You can see there's already a save point on it. Metroid is a 3 megabyte game, and so okay, so here is one with the adapter. This one has a socket, so I can, pull it out and test it. There's the one jumper wire. I used a 30 gauge wire so it would hide and conceal easily. Now this one looks a little uglier. This is one of my older adapters, and but this is the high map one. So the high map adapters has to have 2 additional jumper wires going to it. You can kind of see them here on the end. But again, they're, I ran them through here, under the chip. And then you have the 2 address lines, A20 and A21, that go over here to those spots. So I've got a newer adapter where they're, like on this one, where A20 and A21 are at the edge, so it's a shorter path of wiring. So anyways, Secret of Mana is a high map game. And it's 2 megabytes. You can see I have some saves already on it. Okay, so next is one I had in a previous video. This again is Earthbound Uncut. Got the 2 additional wires right there that go to A13 and 14 for the decoder, and then A20 and A21 for the address lines. This is a 4 megabyte game, high mapped. You can see I have a save art on it as well. And here's the decoder again. It's a low map one. And this is the Evo. Also, since it's only a 2 megabyte game, I only needed one of the address lines to go. Okay, so, and last but not least is kind of the holy grail of, I wanted to see if I could get it done. So I have Star Ocean on a 1A 3B cartridge. Star Ocean's takes up 3 ROMs, 96 megabytes, or megabits, excuse me. You can see I have a save spot there as well. Anyway, Star Ocean was a little more complicated, obviously, but so it's ROM 1 with its various jumper wires, and then this is ROMs 2 and 3. But it also needed the A23, which is this line there, which didn't have any traces going from it. So on the game board or the donor, 40 is where you have to get one of the jumper wires. And I probably should say that when you scrape away the green, kind of the green here, you want to put some tape over the gold fingers so that when you solder to it, the gold doesn't, wick down. So like here, for example, you can see where it started to run down, and that was my bad. I didn't put the tape on. But here, if you put the tape on, then, it'll contain the solder to that, just to that area. So anyways, the Star Ocean one's a little ugly with the wires and the glue, but they all fit in a cart, and in the shell. And come on, there. So it all fits. And then these, of course, fit as well. In a shell. There's no binding or one thing you do have to do, though, is because this jumper is right there on the edge of those pads, you might have to put a little tiny notch in the shell for that, to allow for that bump. Because the shell, the solder point is on the outside of the shell. So anyways, you might want to use a little Dremel and put a little dimple there. So that's pretty much it. Again, you have the 2 decoders, and then this board, there's actually a newer version that has those 2 pads here on the edge, A20 and A21, that we'll have out. Like this one. But we actually have another one coming that has A20 and A21, and then A13 and 14, and this will swing down to where these actually are right across from each other, so it'll be real simple to bridge, 20, 21, and 13, 14, right, just all here in a row. So this next board will come out down here, and it'll be right up here against the edge. And so all you got to do is just put a little jumper wires, just like that. So anyways, these are going to be available on mortoffgames.com, MORTOFF games.com. These are my prototypes that I'm just playing with. I don't plan on selling I'm selling the adapters, of course, but the cartridges are just for me, for educational. Just wanted to see if I could do it. So anyways, yeah, it just makes these 1A, 3B boards, a hell of a lot more useful instead of just sitting in a bin somewhere. Also, in case you noticed or not, there was an electrolytic capacitor that used to sit here and here, little round can, type of capacitor. And anyways, I remove all the electrolytics from the carts, and I replace them with surface mount capacitors of the same value. Anyways, surface mounts will last pretty much forever. And leaving an electrolytic capacitor on a cartridge is just asking for trouble. It's 30 years old, plus leakage, and there's just nothing good about leaving it there. So I encourage you to replace your capacitors if you're going to use this style board. I'm not sure I have any that I could show you. I think I've replaced them all. But I think I've replaced them all. None to show. Oh well. All right, well that's pretty much it. Again, we're gonna make these available. Haven't determined a price yet, but you know, we're probably looking at a couple of bucks, you know. And of course, you don't have to use my adapters. You can use the other TSOP 41s and just, or you can use these. It doesn't really matter. You know, the main thing is that the decoder sends the proper signal to the SRAM for when it needs to save, and the ROM, so when it needs to run. And so, you know, I mean, that's really all that this is doing here. It's just, I mean, you could probably cut and slice and twist and bend, you know, the decoder that's on there and make an, you know, an uglified mess, you know, by, you know, taking the decoder and cutting and jumping, you know, it just looked like an ugly mess. But you can do it. I mean, I did it when I was doing some testing and just to kind of confirming, you know, the ideas, but this is certainly a much cleaner, easier way. Also, one other thing to note, if you are going to do a game like Earthbound, the ROM data does have to be rearranged. So you can't take a high map game and just program it, mount it, you know, run the jumpers and go. Because this is a low mapped cartridge, 1A3B, you have to move the data around to match the way it's wired on the cartridge. And so, we will have a tool available, a little program that'll do the conversion for you. You just drag and drop your ROM onto the tool, and it'll spit out the shuffled ROM data, and then you take that and burn it onto your EEPROM. So anyway, the tool will be available for free, of course, but anyway, I just wanted to mention that, you know, for games like Earthbound that are high mapped or Secret of Mana, you can't just take the raw ROM file as is and use it. It does have to be rearranged or shuffled, so all the data points match up, you know, to where they're supposed to be. So one other thing to note is on the high mapped games, on the high map decoder, cannot run 1 megabyte games. Has to be 2 megabytes or larger. And really, truthfully, well, it has to be bigger than 1 megabyte. So it could be 1.5 or 1.25. You know, anything over 1 megabyte will run with the reshuffling and all. The decoder cannot do 1 megabyte high map games, but that really shouldn't be an issue to begin with, I don't think, because most high map games are, you know, that save anyways, are bigger than 1 megabyte. So, but that's really the only limitation, is it's just how the cartridge is mapped, where the lines go, and we, you know, managed to get it down to 2 megabytes games. Well, that's it. Hope you enjoyed it. If you got any questions, feel free to comment or send us a message at mordoffgames.com on the service button.